got our man in the studio. I'll introduce him. I'm sure you know, because we have been flying it around for the last maybe 2, 3, 4 days, and now it's time to set it rolling. My name is Anderson Danso. I'm a member of the communication team NDC UK and Ireland chapter, and of course we are very happy to be coming to you Omega Live TV all the time and let you know the things that go on in Ghana. I am sure that you hear a lot because of now social media and for everything that goes on. Anytime you talk to people in the street, 2 things as what's on their mind. One day we'll go back home. If we go back home and we are being attacked by armed robbers, if we go back home and for the money that we took home has no value, what's the point? It is only when we put our foot down, it is only when we say it the way they are. It's only when we move away from the tribal sentiment. Maybe your chin into head and don't kobuzia for the 2 abamao. A trip. And I made me a santini a yedea. Ye 2 aba Emma a yedan kobuzia. A trip. Time is changing so fast. You look at what they have done, you look at what the other people have done. They will just put it in a weighing point and see which one you would take. Odi mi nunu nyina abegu ho na fo akari na fo ahwe odi gu nseni ani a na wahwe de betimi e de oman akwanim. NPP said they had a men. We compare men for men, it didn't come. We will go even deeper. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud to introduce to you the Honorable Member of Parliament for the people, the citizens of Ghana, and all the people of Ningo, Prampram Constituency. Today, Prampram has been one of the biggest destinations, even for people who live abroad, because of the nice beaches. It's become expensive there now. Or people go there for holiday and Ningo too. And it's the standing effort over the years of NDC and the people of Ningo Prampram making it that way that Ningo and Prampram has become what it has become today. It's not been the East Legons anymore. Now people are heading towards the areas like that. You see, I have the MP of the area with me today. Honorable Sam George is here with me. Jata.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
How are you today?
Very well. Very well.
Yeah,
thank you so much. It's a pleasure to host me in your lovely studios.
We ambushed you. We tried. We tried to ambush. It's very important. It's very important.
I mean, anything in service of the NDC. So
It is. You just said in service of NDC, but over the last maybe 5 to 6 months, it has more been in the service of Ghana even more than the NDC.
Sure.
I've had people call me and said, I'm not an NDC guy. I will never vote for NDC. I come from Etiwa, West Constituency. In fact, I was even a candidate there on NDC's ticket for the parliamentary. But Dr. Nkrumah couldn't win at Etiwa. MPP always win. NDC has never even come close to even 40%. But I even have people coming from my constituency telling me today that some of the stands that the NDC are taking, especially you, Sam George, had made us understand that aside all the politics, you understand culture and what we believe in as a people, even against all the odds that you envisage I will be going through. We'll be looking at it. Sam George, we lost 2016, and you speak to people on the street, they said, well, it was us to lose it. Some also say that, well, 2016, if we didn't lose, people would say that, well, the Nana Akufo-Addo and his people were the president that would change the fate of Ghana that Ghana never had. People thought that if Nana Akufo-Addo didn't come president, people had even compared him to changing the face of Ghana like what the Kigali president, Rwanda president is saying, or what Magufuli did when he was. And many other people, they said he's an Oxford graduate, although he didn't finish. He said he's a lawyer, They said he is so good. He's been in the game for over 40 years. He's that man to make it work. And all that. Some of us, we knew it wasn't going to work. Because we have been at where he comes from. We have been at his constituency. We have known the people following him. Kofi Asante Bedi Akon. Bedi Etuo. Gabi Asoroche Dako. We have known them. We have known them. We had known them as people that we live with, as people who we have been on the street with, people that we had lived here in England with. When they were returning to Ghana, we knew the things that they had done in England. We knew their pockets when they came down to Ghana. We knew how much they had even borrowed and how much they owe. And we knew that, listen, if you hand over the country to these people, by the time they satisfy all the things that they want to satisfy before, it's going to be a problem. Today, they are middlemen hiring aircraft, paying $14,000 to $18,000 from Fambra. You take the finest one of it for the president and pocket some in their pocket. And all the things. 2016, when we lost power, how did you feel?
Well, let me say a very good evening to our viewers and to everyone who's following this program and to yourself. 2016 was a difficult one. At the time, I had served in the office of the president. I was a presidential staff or communications specialist to President Mahama, and I had just won my first parliamentary elections to represent the good people of Ningo Prampram, and so I was looking forward to being an MP with my government in power, and so to go into parliament as a first-time MP in opposition wasn't what I'd envisaged and wasn't the plan. I was downhearted like many NDC followers and people who believed in President Mahama, because I knew firsthand the work that President Mahama had done. I knew the journey he was on, where he was taking Ghana to, and I was clear in my mind that the Akufo-Addo administration was going to reverse the clock. They were going to take us back at least a decade in our quest to achieve development, because President Mahama had set out the roadmap. We were not a perfect administration, I would admit that, but posterity has judged us fairly, like President Mahama said after he lost the elections. People who thought that we were abysmal have seen what abysmal is in the Akufo-Addo administration. They've been a sham. They've been very hapless at the work that they do. They have failed to show inequality, and they have shown that they were all hype and talk and very little action. They've shown that they lack the substance and what it takes, the metal, to actually lead the country of Ghana. They've shown that their action does not match their rhetoric, and that they are all about fanciful sloganeering. I mean, they have shown us what their ability is, and their ability is one of cluelessness and incompetence. And it's unfortunate that Ghana has had to be saddled with such listless governance in the past 6 years.
I'm sorry to cut you, but I was going to ask you that this performance that we see now, which everybody, even including themselves, I mean, judging by their own standards, they've even failed. We try not even to judge the MPP by other people's standard, because if you judge them by the John Mahama and Professor Meo's administration, may so rest in peace administration, it doesn't even wash, because you first ask the question, you should name one hospital they've built. They can't even, they should name one school they've built. So by their own standards, Now, do you think that it is deliberate and greed, a kind of selfishness, that is making them starch things in their pocket and leaving the country this impoverished, going down the drain now very much so quickly, or is sheer incompetence?
My opinion is it's a mixture of the two. It's a mixture of gross incompetence and unbridled greed. You have this toxic mixture of people who are grossly incompetent and are arrogant about their incompetence. They are very cavalier in their incompetence and inabilities, and think that they could use some kind of bourgeoisie demeanor to cover up their incompetence and cluelessness. And then you mix such incompetence with unbridled greed, the hunger for, unholy wealth that cannot be explained. And what you have is the situation in Ghana where the ordinary taxpayer has been overburdened by the government just to take care of the excesses of the state. And when we go into the discussion, I would show you how the president is all over the world globetrotting and in comfort and like an Arabian king, and he's asking the Ghanaian people to tighten our belts. He's loosening his belt, but he's tightening. He's asking us to tighten our belts. So it's a combination. It's a combination of gross incompetence and unbridled greed.
We will get there very soon. Now, Honorable Sam George, what do you say to people who because I hear this a lot, especially from the MPP folks. What do you say to them ones who are so disappointed and say that, well, if Nana Akufo-Addo couldn't do it, nobody can do it, and that all parties are the same? I strongly disagree. Have you heard it before?
Well, I agree with you in your disagreement that all parties are not the same. The NDC is not the same as the NPP. We're two different groups of people. The NDC is a party that over-delivers but under-promotes what we achieve. We seem to have a difficulty in trumpeting our successes. The NPP is a party that has a cavalier and well-oiled propaganda machinery that communicates things that do not exist as though they were. They make a molehill out of an anthill out of nothing, and to make a mountain out of a molehill. They have a way of projecting things that do not even exist as though they exist, and so that alone sets out the dichotomy between the two parties. We're a party that has always fixed the rot and fixed the mess. They come in and create the mess, and so anyone who says that the NDC and the NPP are the same, we're not the same. And I just want to urge everyone. If you're in a country and people who are wise fail to vote, fools will elect leadership for everyone, including the wise people. And so if you have the capacity to do critical thinking, and it has become obvious to you that the Akufo-Addo administration has been a colossal failure, a cataclysmic failure, one of grandiose proportions in terms of the record of the Fourth Republic, the worst government we've ever seen in the 30 plus years of the Fourth Republic. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your children to ensure that we bring an end to this nightmare that we live as a country. And we need to bear in mind, like I keep saying, President Mahama is no angel. His administration was not perfect, but compared to this administration, he's an angel. And it's like comparing an angel and demons. And I'm confident, knowing President Mahama the way I do, that he has learned a lot from the mistakes that were made in the 4 years that he had the opportunity to lead our country. Another 4 years will see him pick up from where he left it off and basically try to fix the rot that had been created by this administration. Let's not forget that he had done it before with his previous boss, Professor Mills. They had come in 2008 or 2009, and they had inherited all kinds of problems. They had inherited an energy crisis. They had inherited Kufuor's legacy of signing the single spine pay policy literally 72 hours before he left office, which increased our wage bill from about 26% of our national expenditure, of our GNP, gross national our earnings as a state, government revenue, from 26% to 80%. He literally quadrupled our wage bill. Professor Mills didn't run away from it with President Mahama, then Vice President Mahama. They fixed it. So he's got a track record of fixing things. He inherited Dumsor, fixed Dumsor before he left. And so this is a man who has a proven track record. This is a man who has just 4 years. 4 years to focus on leaving a legacy. What better legacy than fixing the rod of President Akufo-Addo? It's going to be a tough task.
I'm sure.
Very tough task.
I'm sure.
If there's anyone I trust to fix it, it's John Dramani Mahama.
Some people has also said, some critics said that, and they even described Nana Akufo-Addo as a shrewd politician, which I disagree again. I would think that you don't get too crafty and they call it shrewdness. Now, he has managed to just punch hole in every aspect of our institutions. You start from the judiciary, you start from the Auditor General's office, you start from everywhere. And they've managed to put themselves there such that even when we go for judgment, we don't get it. And the reasons behind some of these legal principles is just unheard of. I'll give you an example. After the 2020 election, we went to court. And a first year lawyer, first year student, LLB student, you even know that when public interest come in matters that go to court, it is for the bench to respect the public interest. And for everything that the bench should do would be in the interest of the public. The EC admitted that they made some mistakes with the figures. They corrected the figures more than 2 or 3 times. It still didn't even add up. Now, the lead counsel for the NDC had said that, listen, I have some interrogatories for you to answer. And if you're able to answer these interrogatories, we will not even go to where we are going. Now, the judges said, well, when we get to cross-examination, we can do that. So we won't accept the interrogatories. It gets to cross-examination. In the interest of justice, then everybody wants to know why there is such a mistake and why did you have to correct it. You may be right, we might have lost. If NDC lost, we'll go home. But now tell us why you corrected this. Then it so happened that, it is not by force that she mounts the podium, so she won't talk. And so we were just confused. Now, a lot of people, very discerning people, will think that the judges position themselves such that it looks like the public interest was not, in the interest of justice, was not even on the bench at all. How did Nana Akufo-Addo and MPP manage to infiltrate every aspect of the institution? Look at what happened to Adam level. And every single institution. And even now they can't even accept there's a hung parliament. They just can't. They can't lobby 137 opposition members there. Why is that? Is it just their arrogance, or they just don't know what they're doing, or they are just crafty?
Well, I think you've described a despot. This is how a despot,
like a dictator.
This is how despots and dictators. This is how they rule a state. They carry out what we call state capture, where they look to cripple all the institutions of state and have very weak institutions, where they put stooges of the dictator or the despot in charge, and basically you have a strong man and very weak institutions. So you look at people like Napoleon, people like Hitler, people like the Khmer Rouge, for example, in Vietnam. You look at them and you see the same traits running through what Akufo-Addo is doing, albeit under a veneer of democracy. Because clearly our institutions have been bastardized. Our institutions are at the lowest in terms of public perception and public ratings. It's unfortunate that we have a judiciary that no longer inspires trust and faith in the ordinary people. The judiciary ought to be the last bastion of hope for the ordinary Ghanaians, and I've constantly maintained that our judiciary, as it is composed today and as it stands today, has lost that faith and trust of the people, and it's most unfortunate. The judiciary is an arm of government that I have a lot of respect for. However, I cannot, for the life of me, agree with the conduct of the respected learned lords who sit on the bench, and the kind of legal gymnastics that you see. I mean, you made reference to some of the instances in the 2017 election petition that, or even the 2021 election petition of the NDC, and the conduct of the kinds of rulings that came and the reasonings that came behind them made for very clear legal reasoning. But I mean, that's what it is. It is where we are. The civil service has been reduced to very abysmal levels. You go to a place like the Ministry of Finance, and it appears to be an extension of data bank, and civil servants, the bureaucrats have been set aside, and persons who used to work for the Minister for Finance, Ken Oforiatta, and his private enterprise are the ones running the show and making decisions there. You go to our security.
He has a shares in Data Bank.
He owns Data Bank. Okay. He no longer he has created a trust that no longer that holds his interest for him, but he owns Data Bank. He's the founder of Data Bank himself, and Kelly Gajipo. And so, I mean, the fact that he set up a trust and relinquished his shareholding to that trust. I mean, anybody who understands law understands the functions of blind trust and what they do for people. So, his wife, his spouse, is still on the board. So, I mean, as to his beneficial
even
interest,
as a connected person, he's still on there.
Absolutely. When it comes to his beneficial interest, you can easily, using the legal principles of tracing, draw your connections. But that's just one example. You go to our security services, for example, and I have made it clear that, God willing, in 2025, when President Mahama becomes president of Ghana again, whoever he appoints as Minister for Defense and Minister for Interior have a responsibility to ensure a proper audit of our security services and a cleanup of the security services. I have made it clear that as a member of the NDC, I will turn my criticisms and my angst at President Mahama and his ministers of Interior and Defense if there is no cleanup of our security services, because that will be a betrayal of the trust of the people. I cannot support a government that will come in, an NDC government that will come in and allow the status quo, the rot in our security services. You have criminals, and I use that word very aware of what it means. Criminals, people who have served jail time. Today wearing uniforms in our military and our police service because they've been put in there by MPP politicians. I mean, look, we need to clean up our security services. We need to clean up the police. We need to clean up the military. We need to clean up the immigration, the customs service. Unless we have a proper cleanup, we cannot say we have any a functional security service. And this is all the rot and decay that you see under the despot Akufo-Addo.
On George, are you also able to say this and being emphatic on coming out of the report that came out of the Short Commission, where people like Mohammed Suleimana was even said to be prosecuted, but the government decided to shield them, and or the recommendation that came from the commission after the Iwas West Wogon incident, which you were a victim to it.
I mean, Iwas West Wogon was an unfortunate incident, and yes, I was a victim, but I tried to downplay even whatever it is I suffered, because I know what the other gentlemen, people like Ishao Yaro, who up till now is still bedridden. He's undergone over 8 surgeries on his leg. He was shot in the leg. This was a footballer who was due to travel outside for trials, you know, breadwinner of his family. The state is supposed to have paid compensation to those people. The state has refused to do that. I mean, it is that kind of mess that would not allow me, and my conscience and my morals will not allow me be part of an NDC administration that would not clean up. And that's why I'm serving notice today, that if the NDC comes to power, I would expect to see a cleanup of the security services. If they don't do it, I will attack and take the NDC administration on, because we owe it to the Ghanaian people.
Of course.
It is the inaction of the Akufo-Addo administration on working on the Emil Short Commission's report. The report highlighted the structural deficiencies and weaknesses, the lacunas that existed in our security architecture and the problems of our security services, and recommended solutions. The government refused to work with it. It is the refusal to carry out those reforms that led to the subsequent killing of people in Ejura. You understand me? And so it is obvious that clearly there's a problem with our security services. Clearly the solution is known. We just need political will to execute it. And that's political will I expect to see under President Mahama. I don't expect to see that happen under Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo is a lost case. He's a foregone conclusion. I have no expectations of him. I mean, because he's and I've always said this, before Akufo-Addo became president, I made a point in the Ghanaian media that President Akufo-Addo, then candidate Akufo-Addo, is the biggest beneficiary of political violence in Ghana's history. I mean, this is a man who basically, his claim to fame as a politician was a Kume Preko demonstration. The Kume Preko demonstration led to the death of 4 young Ghanaians, Ahun Ohonga and 3 others. Akufo-Addo, then as opposition politician, who led those young men out on a demonstration and led them to their untimely death, promised the family of Hon MP and 3 others that if MPP ever came to power, he was going to seek justice for them. Thankfully, the President Kufuor came to power and he was made Minister for Justice and Attorney General. The man, the only person in the country who could initiate criminal investigations into the murder, the gruesome killing of Hon MP and 3 others during the Kume Preko demonstration. He failed to commission an inquiry. He did not care about the loss of those 4 Ghanaian lives.
And he called them to the demonstration.
He let them out on the streets. And today, he's president because he claims that he's a fighter for rights and always cites Kume Preko. He led 4 young Ghanaians to their death. When he became Attorney General and had the opportunity to investigate their death and hold those who were responsible for it responsible, he failed to do that. And that's the same way under his watch. He's the only president who has carried out an election and you've seen 8 Ghanaians. Ghanaian elections may have been violent, but never have you seen the loss of life. Not in 1992, 96 under Rawlings, or 2000 under Rawlings, not even in 2004 and 2008 under Kufuor, not in 2012 under President Mahama, not in 2016, but in 2020 under Akufo-Addo, we saw the killing of 8 Ghanaian citizens, not by vigilantes, but not by people who you don't know.
No.
These were people who were wearing Ghanaian army uniforms, people whose faces are captured on camera, people who took a command from someone. They have been shielded. They have not been prosecuted. 8 Ghanaians lost their lives.
And the president is zilch on it.
He cares not. He doesn't care about it because he is the biggest beneficiary of political violence.
Sam George, we would get there. Let's into other matters with the economy. Let's get on security. If I'm leaving from England to go spend some holidays with my children, would I comfortably say that it is safe to walk around and come back home midnight, 1 a.m. from Osu and all the streets and all that? What is the security situation?
Well, in all honesty, compared to the rest of the sub-region, Ghana still remains relatively safe compared to the sub-region. But compared to Ghanaian standards, Ghana is not as safe as it used to be. You have an IGP who is more interested in social media likes. I mean, Dampari is more interested in what pictures are taking and how he looks in the pictures and what he can get bloggers to write about than the real policing work, the real police intelligence and information intelligence gathering and sting operations that keep our streets safe. You know, he's more interested in arresting MPs who are driving on the side of the road or using a hazard or using a siren. Those are the things he's more interested in, writing press statements about we've arrested this MP and we are prosecuting him. That's what he's more interested in. That's not what keeps the country safe. That's not what keeps the country safe. What keeps the country safe is ensuring that police intelligence is well resourced to be able to counter armed robbery operations. Under his watch as IGP, you have seen police officers being engaged in bullion van robbery, killing themselves, killing their fellow police officers, you know, and up till now we don't know where that case has got into. Under his watch, currently the special prosecutor is investigating the recruitment scam under him, where persons associated with him or connected to him have been engaged in some kind of scam in police recruitment and the sham that it is. And so when you have an IGP whose primary motivation is Facebook clicks and the joy of his political appointer in the Flagstaff house, you have a declining situation of security. At this point in time, morale in the police service is extremely low. The police don't find it they're not really motivated because you have police officers who are ready to do the patrols. They're ready to do nighttime patrols and do patrols in areas where even the police saloon vehicles can't go, and they need motorbikes. And instead of buying motorbikes, you say you want to go and buy horses. I mean, are they supposed to chase?
That might be somebody's contract.
Are they supposed? Absolutely. So if that's the interest of our IGP, then you cannot expect to have proper security on the ground. And I mean, I leave this at his doorstep because the police service is responsible for internal security.
Yes.
And securing the country. And so if you have real needs and you're interested in buying horses and dogs, reinvigorating your K9 unit, it's not bad to have a K9 unit, but you must ask yourself, what is your priority? Are you going to chase the robbers with the dogs, or are you going to sit on the horses and chase the robbers? I mean, you need motorbikes. You need to get Kevlar vest for your officers with body cams for them to feel secured and strong. The Metropolitan Police is able to go out because they're wearing body armor. Okay, because nobody wants to go out and face automatic gunfire and die.
No.
And so that's why you call the police, and the police will tell you we don't have fuel to come. It's not that they don't have fuel to come. They're afraid of the bullets they are going to meet. They're afraid of the firepower they're going to meet. But if that person is wearing a Kevlar helmet, he's wearing a bulletproof Kevlar vest, he knows he's well protected, he's coming to fight. Then he's motivated to fight. But you have some of them carrying weapons that will not even fire in the heat of the time. I mean, how do you have such a demoralized security service provide adequate security for the people? They won't. But I mean, you would have bloggers and social media clicks and hypes for the IGP and him always smiling in his ceremonial uniform, and that's what he's interested in. Unfortunately, he leaves the country less secure.
Good evening, and thank you so much if you're joining us now. It is Omega Live TV. My name is Anderson Danso, and I am hosting the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ningo, Prampram Constituency. And he is in the person of Honorable Sam George. He came to England, and we managed to ambush him and just for him to tell us what is going on. We would expect that you send your messages ahead of time, and I will be reading. If questions, I'll be asking the questions. We've been getting along on the chips and bits of it, bits and bobs, and see what is going on. Now, the central point, the bread and butter issue now. I sent money about an hour ago to Ghana, and the pound was 10 cedis plus. Yeah, on one of the networks. Baumia told us a lot. For every time that the NDC was in power, then there's a State of the Nation's address. After the SONA, he would converge with these people somewhere, and he would do something he calls a true State of the Nation. So in the minds of the ordinary people, the dear Ghanaians knew that he was aware of everything that is going on in the country, because he had also done his true State of the Nation, and he had promised that he would arrest the dollar. He had promised that employment would come. He had many promises he made. People said that he was a Bank of Ghana, he knows what is going on, and he even said it, that the money is in the country. People said that he's Oxford educated, and that he would put all those experiences well and put it well so that the Ghana economy will go on. Personally, I think the next NDC government has a duty to even do debt audit. For the monies that they've borrowed, I think some of these monies didn't land in the coffers of the country. Otherwise, there is no way we will be where we are and lingering on. How would you assess the Kufuor government, his economy, led by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Dr. Bawumia has been a clown. He's been a clown at managing the economy.
They used him, didn't they?
Well, he allows himself to be used. He's not a kid. He's not a chubby, as we say. He's got a brain in his head. He's allowed himself to be used, and he's been more interested in cracking very dry jokes than managing the economy. This was someone who tweeted on the 8th of September 2016. This was what he said on the 8th of
when
September.
NDC was in power.
When NDC was in power. He said, rather than admitting their culpability for the dire situation, President Mahama has resorted to providing excuses. He accused Mahama of providing excuses. Yet just less than a week ago, a few days ago, he spoke at the Pentecost International Worship Center, where he spoke after going deaf and dumb. We had not heard him in God knows how many months, in almost 6 months.
Yes.
The head of our economic management team had not spoken. A budget had been
People
rejected.
said he was doing digitalization.
A budget had been rejected. He had failed to comment on the budget. The major revenue policy item in the budget had been become the subject of political deadlock. He failed to speak about it, and he finally found his voice. And when he found his voice, all he did was to give 3 reasons why we are in this mess. Mahama, COVID, and the Russia-Ukraine war. The very same person who in September of 2016 said accused Mahama of giving excuses, could only come and give us excuses. 3 very lame excuses. I mean, almost 6 years in office, and you're still blaming Mahama for your mess.
It's shocking.
It makes. I mean, you can't even begin to understand where this is coming from. But on the economy, look, the NPP has created a mess. I listened to President Akufo-Addo in his last BBC interview where he tried to quote the growth rates for 2017, 2018, 2019 and tried to juxtapose that. But if you take the 2016 budget of the NDC under John Mahama, there were 4-year projections in that budget. In that budget, the projections for growth in 2017 was 8.5%. 8.4%. In 2018 was 7.5%. In 2019, 7.3%. So if you tell me that you've come in and you're growing, and those projections were on the basis of the investments that had been done. The 8.4% growth in 2017 was going to be on the back of the exploration that was going to commence from the 10 oil fields, the gas fields and the oil fields that had been discovered under President Mahama. And we had put in the infrastructure, built the FPSO. That was the FPSO at our mills. That was going to handle that. So if you come in and you grow at 8.4, which is what was projected under Mahama, what have you done? You've done nothing. I mean, if you had come in and done anything, maybe we should have seen a growth of 10% or 9%, something that spikes above what Mahama had done, because this growth was all projected. The World Bank had agreed with our projections. These were Government of Ghana projections that were agreed with by the IMF and the World Bank. So when he comes in and quotes those figures, it's interesting. Now in 2020, where we want to see your real growth, we begin to see the decline. And you are trying to make excuses using COVID. COVID affected everybody, and
that's what's coming about. Tell us how COVID affected you in Ghana, I mean as in Ghanaians, and how it affected us here. And I'll tell you what the government even did to support.
Well, I can't tell you what that would be for Mahama to explain what they did with COVID, because as far as we are concerned, our government did very little for the Ghanaian people.
The government
claims that they've spent, at the last check, I think the State of the Nation's address, President Akufo-Addo said they spent 25 billion Ghana cedis on fighting, on dealing with COVID. We want to see the breakdown for that. You have Ghana doing a 16% budget deficit in 2020. At the time when all our West African neighbors were doing 6%, an average of 6%, we did 16% deficit, budget deficit, and
it's more than 100%.
And you're asking yourself, on what basis did we do a 16% budget deficit if it wasn't that they just borrowed excess monies to be able to fund their 2020 campaign? So they used COVID as a ruse to go in for all kinds of monies that were not needed. Did not use it to deal with COVID, and rather used it to deal with to fund their election 2020. I mean, in a year like 2020, where you had COVID, and I'll give you some of the breakdowns. It would shock you. In a year like 2020, where there was COVID, and because of that there was a lockdown, and we didn't have a lot of travels. This is how much our Ministry of Health spent 32 million Ghana cedis. At the time, 32 million Ghana cedis was in excess of $5 million. At the exchange rate, there was about $5.8 million. They used $5.8 million for meetings and conferences in the year 2020, when there was a lockdown, when we're all working from home and everybody was meeting via Zoom. They spent $5.8 million, 32 million Ghana cedis on meetings and conferences. We had a government that claimed that they bought PPEs. Okay, they bought PPEs to the tune of over 107 million Ghana cedis. You had a government that said they bought liquid soap to a tune of in excess of 38.9 million Ghana cedis. What even breaks my mind was tissue paper. Toilet roll. They bought toilet roll worth 197 million Ghana cedis, 648,957 Ghana cedis, almost 200 million Ghana cedis. That's almost $40 million for tissue paper. You wonder if they were giving every Ghanaian a tissue paper or what. But this is the kind of expenditure that they did with COVID, and they tell you they spent 25 billion. They tell you they gave us free water and free electricity. You claim you gave free water and free electricity for 6 months, extended it by another 6 months. But out of the 33 million Ghanaians, only 5.1 million Ghanaians get access to water through Ghana Water Company. So if you say Ghana Water gave free water, the rest of the 33 minus 5 million, 28 million Ghanaians who are not on Ghana Water, how did they get it? Yet after doing that for 1 year, you impose a 1% COVID levy. On everything, including if you buy a meat pie or a sausage roll in Ghana, you're paying COVID levy 1%.
Really?
So government is recovering everything that they spent, and you are taking that 1% from people who did not benefit from the water or electricity. So this is a government that gives you with one hand and takes from you with two hands, their feet, their head, their mouth, and every orifice that they have in their body. That's the kind of government that you have. Now, I spoke about the reality. The president is asking us to be austere. He's asking Ghanaians to tighten our belt. The budget for the Office of Government Machinery, Akufo-Addo's office, running the office of the president and his programs, in 2021 cost the Ghanaian taxpayer 2.3 billion Ghana cedis. 2.3 billion. In 2022, when he says that Ghanaians must tighten our belt, the budget in the 2022 budget for the Office of Government Machinery is 3.5 billion. So from 2.3 to 3.5, it's about a 53% increase.
Yeah.
So he's asking us to reduce, but he's increasing his expenditure because he knew he was going to have to pay more for the private luxury jet that he bafs in the air with. You get, and so how can you as a president be asking the people to pay more in taxes, asking the people to sacrifice more, asking the people to tighten our belts, and you are increasing your own expenditure, your luxury expenditure by 55%? I mean, you just can't wrap your head around what the president is saying to the Ghanaian people, and it's this kinds of inconsistencies. And recently the World Bank has had to speak. The World Bank president in Ghana has had to speak. He says, look, the president owes it to the Ghanaian people to tell us the truth. Because at the end of the day, the Ghanaian economy had started having crisis in 2019, before the 2020 election.
Yes.
And so these problems are not necessarily about those COVID issues are
not about
the economy. You had your economy already in a very bad state, and President Akufo-Addo, he went and stood at the General Assembly. We know how to bring back the economy. We don't know how to bring back lives. Why aren't you bringing back the economy? Now you're telling us that it is not your fault. You said you knew how to bring back the economy. Bring the economy back. Now you're blaming Russia, Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine started a war. Russia started an invasion of Ukraine on the 24th of February.
Yes.
On the 24th of February.
Barely a month.
And your robust economy. And at the beginning of COVID, Ken Ofori-Atta, Minister of Finance, came and said we had a robust economy that could withstand 3 years of shocks. The economy is what has become Apache. It's limping all over the place. It's in ICU. And so at the end of the day, how a war that is barely 3 weeks old can collapse an economy that we're told is so robust and has been built for over 6 years, tells you how fragile the economy was. It tells you how the fundamentals were weak and the exchange rate is exposing them. Today, Baumia tells you that the fundamentals are, even if the exchange rate is exposing you, it doesn't mean the fundamentals are weak. I mean, this is a man who told us he had arrested the dollar, handed the keys over to the IGP. Now the dollar has broken jail, has arrested the vice president and locked our vice president up in cells, and he cannot speak. This is a vice president who is head of economic management team, comes to deliver a 2-hour lecture and fails to say anything about the fight against corruption. The president as well delivered the State of the Nation's address 2 weeks ago, failed to say anything about corruption. This is the same vice president who comes to deliver a 2-hour lecture and fails in 2 hours to say anything about the e-levy. And you want me to believe that these are people who know what they're talking about? Absolutely not. And so you see, we can go on and on. And even from his statement, I'll just give you 4 examples of things he said that were not true. He claimed in his statement, and there are several untruths, but just because of time, Bawumia claimed in his statement that inflation had declined from an average of 17.5% in 2016 to an average of 7.2% in 2020. Again, that's Bawumia behaving like, you know, he's actually using statistics like a bikini. You know, we say people say statistics is a bikini. It reveals a lot.
Yes.
When a woman is wearing a bikini, you see a lot. But a bikini also conceals a lot. There are critical parts of a woman's anatomy that you don't see when she's wearing a bikini. So a bikini reveals a lot, but even conceals more. And that's what Bawumia is doing with statistics, because what he's failing to tell people is that in 2017, what we use as the basket for calculating our CPI, our inflation, is completely different from what you're using within the time frame of 2017 to 2020. So you're comparing apples and oranges. You've redefined what the inflation basket is, the basket you use, the CPI basket that you use to calculate inflation, to make it favorable for you to get a lower rate of inflation. And then you're trying to juxtapose it against a period where you had other high inflation items like food and cement in that basket. Now, the other thing he claimed was, and I've spoken about that, was the free water for households. Very untruthful. Only less than 1/6 of Ghana's population, actually less than 20% of the population, just about 14% of the population had access intermittently to some kind of free water. And now, immediately that ended, we've seen over 60% increase in the cost, in the tariff price of water. We pay the bills. If you used to pay 200 cedis a month for water, all of a sudden your bill jumped from 200 cedis to somewhere around 260, 270 Ghana cedis. And then on top of that, we are paying a 1% COVID levy. So how then do you tell me you gave me free water when you gave me 100? They say you rob Peter to pay Paul. No, he's not robbing Peter to pay Paul. He's robbing Peter to pay Peter. You are stealing from me and claiming that you are giving me aid out
to me.
Absolutely. You steal from me and you bring me a pittance to say you are coming to commiserate with me for the theft. Again, he talks about the fiscal deficit and claims that the fiscal deficit between 2013 and 2016 averaged about 7% of GDP, but between 2017 and 2019 it declined to an average of 4.5. Again, that is not true, because between 2017 and 2019, in calculating what our fiscal deficit was, this government, the Akufo-Addo government, has they call it a smart accounting. No, it's the accounting of crooks. They take out the energy sector debts and the financial sector cleanup debts, which they themselves, in Bawumia's lecture, claims that is one of the major drivers, accounts for almost 50 billion of our debt. You take it out of the basket and then calculate what your fiscal deficit is, and say you have a lower fiscal deficit. But that is debt. That is debt that the Ghanaian taxpayer has to pay. So the taxpayer is paying it, but he's saying in the calculation, let's not.
You have to put everything in it. It even follows common sense rather than
but
economics.
They are crooks. Again, he tells you that the average GDP growth rate for 2017 to 2021, including the COVID period, was 5.3. Again, that's not true. He claims that there was a 3.0 growth rate between 2013 and 2016. Again, I mean, he's comparing a 5-year period to a 4-year period. I mean, the kinds of dishonesty that characterized him. I was shocked, because he's supposed to be a practicing Muslim, and this lecture was delivered at a time when Muslims are supposed to be seeking the face of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the Ramadan period. And the confidence and ease with which he told these lies. And this is just a few of the many lies. I mean, for example, he claims that they spent over $1 billion US in paying energy sector debts. Not true. The Honorable Alassane Suhini, MP for Tamale South, filed the question in Parliament, and the finance minister came, and all together we have paid less than 250 million over the whole period. Yet he's quoting in excess of $1 billion. I mean, why would you lie? The facts are there.
Honorable Sam George, I think Dr. Bawumia seemed to think that the propaganda that he has used washed all the over 100 and something questions that he's given to the former vice president to answer, Pakwesi Arthur, may he so rest in peace. He seemed to still be in that propaganda mood and still saying things that do not exist. Because even with the exchange rate and the economy being weak and all that, and he said it was true then, it was true now, you would realize that even people sitting behind him were just looking at him they were so uncomfortable. If you look at even Professor Jambafo's face, you would realize that they are all saying that Well, we had told this lie together, but we didn't say come and repeat it. You could tell from their face. Now, you have, on one of the interviews I listened, described or called out the Minister for Finance as a Yale-inspired pickpocketer. And this is in connection with the e-levy.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
I mean, the e-levy is Ghana's version of Money Heist on Netflix.
People don't like it.
You know, I mean, you're basically stealing from the pocket of the ordinary Ghanaian. It's lazy taxation. In fact, it's not taxation. It's lazy pickpocketing. And like I said, it's Yale-inspired pickpocketing, and Ken Oforiatta has to be held responsible for that. You do not tax people's savings. You put taxation on earnings, on profit, but not on savings. Okay, that's why when you put money in a savings account, it actually accrues interest. That they don't charge.
No.
They don't place charges on savings accounts.
Because you might have paid a tax on it already.
Because your savings are what you're putting away for your
rainy
day.
Yeah.
It's like government in the UK saying they're going to tax pensions. You're taking your pension, we are taxing your pension pot. It makes no sense. Because you see, mobile money has become a driver of a digital economy. But you see, I listened to President Akufo-Addo when he claimed that they are taxing an economy. You're placing taxes on individuals, not on the economy. They're looking at the size of the mobile money space and they're confusing themselves. Okay, because the real volume of money, as at 2021, from the Bank of Ghana statistics, that is in circulation in the mobile money economy, is just worth 8 billion. 8 billion Ghana cedis. However, the volume of transactions is in excess of 600 billion Ghana cedis. Now, there's a difference between the value of the money and the volume of the transactions. What happens is that when I load 1,000 Ghana cedis on my mobile wallet, the value of money put in the ecosystem is 1,000 Ghana cedis. Now, when I transfer 500 Ghana cedis out of that 1,000 to you, still the value of money in the ecosystem is 1,000 Ghana cedis. But when you look at volume of transactions, it's 1,500. Because it's calculated the 500 from me to you. But it is part of the original 1,000. It is not a new 500.
No.
Now, when you also send 300 cedis to your sister, and she also accesses that money, still the value of the money is 1,000. It's the 1,000 I loaded. That has 500 has come to you, and 300 has gone to her.
Yes.
But now, in terms of volume of transactions, it is 1,800. On my other 500, I sent 200 to my wife. Still from that same 1,000. So the real value of the money is 1,000 cedis. But then that 200 is added to 1,800. Now the value of transactions is 2,000 Ghana cedis. Twice the value of money I've put in the system.
Yes.
But that's volume of transaction. That's not value of the money.
The value of the money.
So they are looking at the volume or the value of transactions and not the value of money on the system. It's 8 billion. Because that same money is circulating in the system, it has a multiplier effect looking like 600 billion. And you say in 1 year, you are going to take 6.9 billion in taxes. You are basically taking almost 90% of the value of money out of the ecosystem. You're going to kill the ecosystem. Okay, so, but again, an e-levy is a very complex Ponzi scheme. Even God, I've said this, even God takes 10% from my earnings as a Christian. As a Muslim, if you want to pay zakat, it's about 2% of your earnings. Okay, or as much as you want to pay. Now, when you pay zakat or you pay your tithe as a Christian or a Muslim, once you pay what the agreed percentage is, that's what it is.
Yes.
Okay. The rest of the money is seen as yours to spend. Akufo-Addo says no. So I work for company A. I get paid 5,000 Ghana cedis. He takes 1.5% on that 5,000 Ghana cedis, as my employer is paying me digitally. Now, when that money hits my account, I'm going to buy fuel, 500 Ghana cedi. Already 1.5% has been taken of that 5,000 when that money was paid to me. But when I'm spending 500 cedis from that 5,000, he's taking 1.5 again from it. When I'm sending 1,000 cedis to my child's school to pay for the fees, he's taking again another 1.5% on it. I mean, Even God takes it once. It's only King Nebuchadnezzar who can seek to do or take from the people more than what even God Almighty is taking away from them. I mean, and it is this thievery, plain thievery from the ordinary Ghanaian. And look, there's an even worse scandal. The mode of collection. And last 2 weeks Saturday, or last week, not yesterday, yesterday was a week, I did a program on City FM in Ghana, and I stated clearly that there are individuals in government who are looking to make about 241 million Ghana cedis from the collection of e-levy. They're using a company called Express Pay, and they've changed the directorship and ownership of Express Pay and put themselves in there. I know the individuals in government who are trying to milk the state out of this. You're trying to use a cloud-based server system based in Northern Ireland to do the processing. The query system will not work. Up till now, as we speak, they have not shown the telcos, the APIs that they are going to use. When I get back to Ghana, we will go into the technicalities, how it is being built to fail. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. They lack the technical competence to process this. The kinds of queries they are expecting to run on this cloud serverless system in 90 seconds, when 75% of your mobile money transactions are USSD based, it's not possible. It simply will not work. But they don't care. All they're interested in is do the procurement, pay the $40 million to this company, get your kickback, get your share out of it, and leave people. What you're going to see is you're going to see people sending money within the ecosystem locally, and you will send the money will be deducted from your account. It will not hit the recipient's account because the query systems have not completed. Or you see people sending less than the 100 Ghana cedi. The person is sending 50 Ghana cedi, but because the query system is down, it's going to bill you. And that's what government is trying to do. They want to go ahead and bill everybody and claim that they will do reversals subsequently. How do you build a system or roll out a system that you know is not robust enough to handle the exemptions in the system that you have put? But you say we should go ahead and charge in contravention of what Parliament itself has approved and passed as a legislation, even wrongfully so. But you still want to go ahead just because by 1st of May you want this to go live so that somebody can get a $40 million check. I mean,
it's ridiculous how they are handling this economy. 15 minutes to 9. We are still on Omega Live TV. I'm with the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Republic of Ghana, Honorable St. George Jatta is here in the house. And we are rolling on. I'm sure you share some of these sentiments, even if you belong to MPP or you are neutral, like they say. You begin to worry some of these things that are going on, and it's there for everyone to see. If you request for even the things that is sent to Parliament, I mean through Hansard, you will see that all these things are just there for everyone to see. People know now, and people have been so disappointed in Nana Addo Bawumia's administration, and people are asking questions. Why would a 78-year-old man would be doing this to his country? Honorable Sam George, if you're walking on the streets of Ningo or maybe Prampram, not as a member of Parliament, and you're wandering through the street, what will you think these people are stealing all this money for? Are they trying to, because I heard it somewhere, through somebody who is very close to them, that they're trying to hedge all the country's fund to them, capture it, and even if they leave power, whoever forms government of the day, the next day, either the NPP, the NDC, or the CPP, would have to go through them, because now they become the what not of the world, and they would have everything. That is why they seem to be stealing and stealing and stealing and stealing. We'll get into the debt. If you're walking on the street, why would you think that they'll be doing this? Remember, he's 78-year-old man.
I honestly,
he's not young anymore.
I honestly do not have a direct answer for why the greed and theft. But walking on the streets of Ghana, what I do know is that commodity prices have changed. And I can share a few of them with you. In 2016 and 2022, what the prices are. Cement in 2016, a bag of cement in 2016 was 28 Ghana cedis. Today, as we speak, it is 60 cedis, 62 cedis in some places.
Whoa.
So you see an increase of 32 cedis, an increase of over 100%. Weedicides, which were used by our farmers in 2016, was selling for 6 Ghana cedis. 6 Ghana cedis. In 2022, a bottle of weedicide is selling for 60 Ghana cedis. From 6 cedis to 60 Ghana cedis. That is about 1,000% increase. A gallon of petrol in Ghana in 2016, when President Mahama handed over, was 14 Ghana cedis. Today, we are buying a gallon of petrol at 52 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
A gallon of diesel in 2016 was 14 cedi 50 pesos. Today, we are paying 55 Ghana cedis for a gallon. Again, an over 300% increase. You look at iron sheets, 5-star, the 5-star iron sheet that we regularly use. A bundle was going for 180 Ghana cedis in 2016. Today, a bundle is going for 680 Ghana cedis. 500 Ghana cedi increase. That again is about a 400% increase in prices. And this has nothing to do, we don't import diesel or petrol or iron sheets, roofing sheets or weedicide or cement from Ukraine or Russia. We don't. Floor tiles, 60 by 60 inch. That used to go, the box used to go for 55 Ghana cedis. Is now going for 120 Ghana cedis, more than double the price. Yeah. A bag of 50 kg rice, which used to sell at 150 Ghana cedis in 2016, today is selling for 370 Ghana cedis. Again, more than double the price. A bag of sugar, and it is Ramadan. We're supporting our Muslim brothers with sugar. A bag of sugar used to sell for 170 Ghana cedi in 2016. Now it is going for 410 Ghana cedis. That is over 3 times. That's actually 3 times the price. You have cooking oil, which used to sell at 90 cedis for the Kufuor gallon in 2016. Today it is selling for 220 Ghana cedis, almost 3 times the price. A bag of flour, which used to sell for 100 Ghana cedis, is selling for 440 Ghana cedis. That is over 4 times the cost. Fertilizer, which our farmers used to get for free and those they used to go and buy, used to sell for 75 cedis a bag, is now selling for 420 Ghana cedis under President Akufo-Addo, from 75 cedis to 420 Ghana cedis. So this is what the ordinary Ghanaian is living with. In 2016, a sachet of pure water was 5 pesos. Today, a sachet of pure water is 30 pesos. Even pure water. So this is the reality of Ghana. Yeah. This is how we are. We are not living. We are surviving. You know, and it is pathetic. Really pathetic.
All right. Thank you so much. If you are just joining in, the phone numbers would be activated quite soon. It is 07513688333. 07513688333. And for those of you who would, I've seen some of the text messages coming on. To my phone. Those of you who would think that everything is going up everywhere in the world and that petrol is going up, someone has sent me that text message. Listen, when we had COVID here, nobody stopped your universal credit when you want to top up for your rent. The government instituted the bounce back loans for businesses who were struggling, up to £50,000, and a lot of you took it. The government instituted the C-bills, which was on a minimum of 250,000 to cushion businesses. In fact, those who took the bounce back loans, even when the time was up for them to pay, when they were given 1 year grace period for them to pay, the government even said you can just even stretch it forward again from 6 years to 10 years. And the government even went further to say that those who cannot even pay the principal and the interest, you can just pay the interest. Some who took 50,000 were just paying as little interest as less than £120,000, and they are still even paying that. So those of you saying that, oh, it's been like that everywhere, petrol, it's not true. The reason why it's not true is that good governance would ensure that the platform is well laid, things are set well, so that things will go. And especially them who had promised that they would make sure that they will alleviate the people of the problems that they said they were going through. Remember, they asked everyone to title their belt, and they don't even have the hooks to pass the belt through. 075 13 688 333. Honorable Sam George.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back again.
Thank you.
So, what is the NDC's plans moving forward in 2024? Now, 2020 was a bit shady. We saw the things that have happened. I've never witnessed elections in Ghana, and I've been part of the process since 1992, at least for the last 30 years. I've been part of the process. I had stood on many platforms to speak, and we have not had that situation where EC will come out with more than 3 numbers, figures saying that this is it, and EC not acting in good faith, telling people that we will try and reconcile before everything goes on so that we will understand. And when they are trying to see how we reconcile, the EC holds a press conference and announce and come back subsequently to change it. When people said, oh, it's more than 100%, the EC said we would check it and restructure it. Are they not going to do the same thing again in 2024? And if they are going to do the same thing again, what is the NDC going to do? Now, we are so interested in that.
All right, so a very quick one on the point you made about those who would say that things are going up everywhere. I'm not even going to compare Ghana to the UK and the US. I'm going to compare Ghana to our neighbors, Togo. In Togo,
next door.
Yeah, next door. Togo is a country whose GDP is nowhere near Ghana's GDP. But Togo received, in Togo, people were giving cash grants. People were giving direct cash grants. We didn't see that happen in Ghana. The Togolese have also been affected by COVID. They've also been affected by all the challenges that Baumia is citing. Yet you have not seen Togo having the kind of fuel increases that we have in Ghana. You look at Burkina Faso, even with the terrorist crisis in Burkina Faso, they are paying less for petrol and electricity than we are paying in Ghana. Burkina Faso, by the way, buys electricity from Ghana, yet electricity is cheaper there than for Ghanaian people. You look at Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, even with COVID, is growing. They did about 4% deficit of GDP. We did 16% of GDP. Petrol is cheaper in Ivory Coast. So at the end of the day, Ivory Coast and Togo and Republic of Benin, Nigeria have not had their banks downgraded by way of exposure to government. They've not had their economies downgraded. So when people want to make that excuse, they should look at our neighboring countries, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Togo, Benin, and Nigeria, and see how they're performing. Now, as to what the NDC is doing, I mean that I believe that we have national executives, and that's the responsibility of the national executives and whoever becomes our flag bearer, hopefully His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to put in place the mechanisms. As members of parliament, we also have a responsibility to hold down our constituencies and those who become parliamentary candidates as well, to put in place a structure to ensure that we protect the ballot box. I don't believe in having a national strategy for deployment because constituencies are different.
Of course.
What happens in Ningo Prampram and the way I ran my elections in Ningo Prampram, if you juxtapose that in another constituency, it may not work. And so we must have local solutions to local problems. The dynamics in Ningo Prampram and the things I have to do to win an election and protect the ballot box in Ningo Prampram are peculiar to Ningo Prampram. And I understand that better than anybody who sits in the national office. Because they sit in a car, you know what's going on in my exactly, and so it's the responsibility of the party structure. What the national executives must seek to do is to ensure that at every level of the party, from the branches all the way to national, we have the right people in place. I have a problem where we go to a polling station and the NDC had 0. The NDC is supposed to have 9 executives in that area, 9 polling station executives. So even if everybody in that area even if they did not manage to get anybody, then 9. Don't they have family members? How did we get 0 in there? But you go to areas and the polling station executives are non-existent. They were just picked and put there by some candidate who has parliamentary ambitions or some constituency executive who wants to become constituency executive. Put there, they have no affiliation with the party. They're given the title of branch executive. And on election day, elections are won at polling stations. And so if you have ghosts as your polling station executives, then those ghosts are the ones who are going to show up on election day and will not be able to manage your polling station for you. So I think that we need to focus very well on what the strategy will be at that level, and it must be constituency based and constituency driven.
I'll take some few calls, and when we come back, we'll go into culture and what other people want to hang about our neck. I'm sure you understand, don't you?
I do. I hope we have enough time to do that.
We don't have too much time.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at tail end, but we'll get in there.
Sure.
I've started picking the phone calls. I have someone like, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. What's your name, sir?
Hi, my name is Musa Adamu, and I'm calling from London.
Go ahead, Musa.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you know what? I just want to say, just how. You know, you can never hide the truth. Yaka has just enlightened us. This is not about NDQ or NPP. These are realities on the ground. We cannot continue to listen to the propaganda and the lies from this evil leading political party in Ghana, or let's say the governing body in Ghana right now. We are so tired. Just look at what Dr. Baumia came to do the other day. And you know, if you have seen his photograph, the way the man was sweating from top to the bottom, you know that telling lies is a very difficult thing to do. You know, the man was sweating as if he was farming. Even at the air condition, he was sweating because he knew very well that as a practicing Muslim, he was lying through his teeth. So let's all stand together, and I'll still encourage every single person in diaspora to come and support NDC, whichever way that they can, so that we go back and rescue our country. And we will rescue the country through the ballot box.
Thank you so much. You can also call. The phone lines are still open, and so you can also call. Hello, good evening. Hello, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. What's your name, sir? Yes.
Yes, good evening, Sakopan, and then good evening to Honorable Sanjoy.
Good evening.
Yes, it's MP Malik.
Malik, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, Malik, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes. What I want to do is, we have a minister who is at large as of now, since the appointment as a gender minister. Now, this ministry is very, very important to all of us. Because it has to do with children and women. This woman hasn't, the other woman hasn't stepped foot in her office, allegedly. Now, we are told she is in US, where the laws work, and that she's taking care of her children, according to one of her colleague MPs. And that if she neglects the children will be taken away from her. And she's told we have no problem with that. But is she doing that at the expense of the Ghanaian vulnerable children and women? And then secondly, is she not causing a financial loss to the state because she's still working? So I want to know what Honorable St. George and his colleagues in the minority are doing. This is clearly stealing, if I may say, sorry. So what are they doing? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Malik. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, but I thought about it and think, well, how is even that your problem? I just for you, man,
and I just say, you'll be sending power she was employed by President Akufo-Addo, and she owes him an explanation. And it's interesting that she was giving a leave of absence that we were told. We haven't seen any further thing. The last communication we saw was the extension of her leave. We know that Madame Cecilia Dapa, who is Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, is acting in that capacity. She has questions to answer to the taxpayer. I think, however, I hold the view that she's my heroine for 2022. And I say that because of her position she's taking against the NPP, her party on the e-levy. I mean, she made it clear that she didn't accept what it was they were doing, and she was taking a stand. And that's a stand most of her colleagues tell you they share,
but they are not
bold enough to look to the president and say, I will show up and support this. You know, and I think I celebrate her on that score, that she's a woman, but she's got balls. She's got the cojones to be able to look at Akufo-Addo and the NPP in the face and say, this is wrong and I will not be part of it.
They're going to punish her for it.
Well, they can go ahead and punish her, but that's up to them. But I think that's a very bold stand she's taking. She will end up paying a price for it, possibly. But again, on the point of the fact that she has a responsibility to the taxpayer, is she drawing a salary? If she's drawing a salary, that's not end salary. Well, you'll be told that she's on leave. How much leave is she going to be given? Those are questions that the president, who is her employer, has to answer. And ultimate responsibility rests with the president, because he can choose to fire her.
Of course.
The NDC as a minority can't fire her. We didn't appoint
her,
so we can't fire her.
Of course not.
You know, but the president who hired her can fire her. And the question we're asking is, they are bugging her live in Parliament and saying, why is she not showing up in Parliament? What's the president who appointed her as a cabinet minister? Why hasn't he fired her?
We are drawing the curtains. Let's go into culture and LGBTQ. And what has been that St. George is standing up to everybody. What exactly it is? What is it that your name has come up so much in this? Tell us in your own story.
Well, I mean, the LGBTQ story is one that has been discussed largely on several platforms. And
hold on for me, please. Hold on for me. Yeah, go on.
And so, I mean, on the issue of the LGBTQ, we've taken a principled stand in line with our culture. Basically, what our constitution says, the state has a responsibility to ensure that the right Ghanaian culture is permeated through the fiber of the state. And so we've engaged with the National House of Chiefs, which is the custodian of Ghanaian culture, and they say that, look, LGBTQ and its the various variants are not part of Ghanaian culture. We've looked at international legislation, all the so-called international conventions. None of them speaks about sexual orientation as a fundamental human right. Okay, and so when people run riot with it, and I always use the simple question. I say, look, when people talk about the West, there are more states in Europe that have not legalized homosexuality than states that have legalized homosexuality. In Europe, there are about 50 countries, 50 states. 33 of them have not legalized homosexuality. So what
some are even in the EU.
And many of them in the EU, who have even legalized homosexuality, are now beginning to pass new legislation to restrict the kinds of freedoms that those groups had. For example, they're restricting the legal status of unions. Again, you're seeing that happen. You're seeing them take away the right to do indoctrination of children or teaching of that in Poland and Hungary. You understand me? And so these are legislations. In the United States has 50 states. Out of the 50 states in the United States, 27 have laws against LGBTQ. Only 23 states, minority, less than half of the states in the US support LGBTQ. So why should anybody think that a cultural revolution in the West, which is not completely accepted, that the jury is still out on, we should take it hook, line, and sinker when it does nothing for us? What does it do for us?
I'll come back to it. Some people say that because we go them and take money of them, we take support that they give to us for free sometimes.
I just established for you that if you go to the United States, for example, majority of the states in the US do not support it. So if we go to those places for support, yes, there are people in those countries that align with us and support our. In fact, majority of the people there. If you come to the European Union, majority of the people in the EU support us. If you come to the UK, majority of people in the UK, if they were given the opportunity to speak their position and mind without any fear of retribution, majority of the people in the UK do not support homosexuality. They're a small minority. They call themselves a minority. But what they have done is to use blackmail. What they have done is to use this whole subtle blackmail of saying that it is offensive to speak about them. You want me to respect your view, but you don't want to respect my view. Where do you ever hear this said anywhere? And so I mean, like I've said, we're not going to be swayed by whatever they do. Yeah.
Let me go on the line. Hello, sir. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Oh. Speak up, please. What's your name?
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you. What's your name?
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, my name is Prampram.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm from George. Congratulations. Well done. You are very, very appreciated. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
The question I want to ask is, what is the NDC doing to counter the campaign of e-learning? Because the ordinary farmers in my village, somewhere away in the upper region, doesn't understand all this English, jargon about this e-learning thing. So, is NDC doing something different to take the message to the ordinary person, ordinary farmer far away, to speak to them in their own dialect, but how they will understand the e-learning? Because the parliament, everything that goes on, I don't think everybody in Ghana, so that the farmer in the far away north, understand this kind of things they speak them. Have they been able to take the message of e-learning to their doorstep of the ordinary farmer so they will really understand? And I think if they want to, this is the time for them to start. So when it comes to time for election, campaigning, they will be able to, portray their issues in the election.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, you can also call. Phone lines are still open, and you can also call us. Also reminding you that the Denchira coup of UK has lost or therefore Buamponsem, and his funeral will be in 2 weeks. So the Denchira man, the Denchira phone will Europe baby no. Monkai said therefore the form na what you know the enemy. Yebehwe na yakra na chi kra. Someone is asking that what happened to Ajima Menu and the Sputnik vaccines thievery? Is it still under investigation? Parliament has kept quiet on it, or you were still pushing?
Well, just on the first question about e-levy and what we're doing, I believe that I take that as feedback. Fantastic suggestion about taking the message in the local languages and sending them into the field. That's something that I'll take as feedback and work with the team to disseminate. So I'm grateful for that feedback from the caller. We have tried our best on the radio stations, but I believe that we should go beyond the English and the Chi and go into the other local dialects and send them into the field. On the issue of the Sputnik V, the report is there. It's waiting for it to be tabled for Mr. Speaker to allow us take the vote of censure. The procedure in Parliament is quite complex because it is controlled by the leader of government business. He determines government business at a business committee, and so they are playing all the delay tactics. But we're hoping that together with Mr. Speaker, we can be able to bring some finality to that matter as soon as Parliament reconvenes sometime, I think in June.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
What's your name, sir?
Angel.
Go ahead. Sure.
I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Sam George and all our other gallant NDC MCs for the brilliant fight they put up against this e-levy.
Thank you.
I also want to ask, with regard to the COVID fund investigation or inquiry that they try to do that was stifled, what are the avenues or opportunities that exist for bringing that up and looking into that missing money?
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I?
Yes, come in.
All right. So basically, we tried to. A motion was filed, I believe, by Honourable Haruna Idrisu and Honourable Mahama Yariga. My memory serves me right, and we tried to cause an investigation it was blocked by the majority using technicalities where they are citing the fact that Parliament on its own, they challenged the ability of Parliament on its own to cause an audit to be done, especially when the time under review or the period under review, which we were talking about, is 2020, 2021. The Auditor General of Ghana is yet to complete his audit during that time frame, and so the argument has been made that the Auditor General is the one taxed by the Constitution to carry out audits of government expenditure and present his reports to Parliament. And so their point is that we should wait for the 2020-2021 Auditor General's reports to come. That report will be referred by Mr. Speaker to the Public Accounts Committee, which is chaired by the NDC. I happen to be a member of that committee. It's chaired by the Honorable James Klushi-Abeji. And so we would be able to then interrogate the figures better when the Auditor General comes. I believe that I'm not too confident, without wanting to sound prejudiced. I have confidence in the work of the Auditor General's department, not the Auditor General as a person, but we would want to see how objective that report will be. Now, when the Auditor General's report comes and there are lacunas in there, or we're able to raise credible issues, or we see holes in there, then we can demand a special audit commissioned by Parliament into that matter. The government is running away from accountability, and that's the main point we must drive home. That any government should be seeking to account to his people. He shouldn't be running away from accounting to his people.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, lawyer. Thank you for Sabato here.
Yes, Sabato, go ahead.
Well, I just want to welcome our honorable judge, one of the passionate in the floor of Parliament. In fact, looking at him, he has encouraged some of us to be brave and also speak our mind. And I must say he's doing a good work.
Thank you.
I don't have much time today about going to the mock farms, but I just wanted to call in and say a big thank you to yourself and the platform and the honorable judge as well. And he has our support, whatever is going on the floor of Parliament. We, the NDC, we always support one of our own. So we have acknowledged his good job. So
thank you very much.
He must keep it up and keep the fire burning.
Yeah. Sabato, before you leave, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and tell him since Adams is a newcomer, he's supposed to be maybe looking after him as well for me.
Now, I was gonna ask you which one is your constituency, because you mentioned Adam London. I would say that's Ningo DBS, is it?
Yeah, Ningo
DBS is a very good friend of mine. We work together, and he's a very sharp and smart guy. One guy who I have great expectations and hope for in the Parliament of Ghana. Solid guy.
That's very good. Nice to know. Yeah, but you have to go back to help the constituency. Adopt a police station at least, if not the entire constituency. Sabato, thank you.
Always we do. Thank you so much, lawyer.
Thank you, sir. Time running so quick, and we'll be wrapping up. 16 minutes past 9. I'll still take one or two calls before I walk. Someone sent a message asking about the MPP's agenda 111. Is it? How would we know? They keep lying. We cannot be defending other people's lies. Good evening, sir. Oh, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Owusu Echam. Good evening and welcome to London, UK.
Good evening, sir.
I have this, and when you go back to London place, you like the MPs, you have to pay attention to this. It is very important. Do you know that Ghana International Bank in UK, it is Bank of Ghana subsidiary in London, from profits of $17 million 6 years ago, it's now running loss of $16.5 million. Please, when you go back to Ghana, the MPs and the opposition parties should make
investigate.
Please write it down because it's very important. We are running loss $16.5 million Thank you.
Thank you, sir. People now, you see, people now have very, 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 very genuine interest in Ghana because they realize that the direction is going is dangerous, and you can tell that people have excessive interest in Ghana. Now, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
What's your name?
I have another question to Angel.
Go ahead quickly.
My question for Honorable Sam George is if there is anything that Parliament is doing with regards to auditing the AC, or is there any plan in motion that has not come to light yet about calling inadequate Mensah to account for the expenditure and the cloud that surrounded the last, gone election?
Thank you.
Was it the EC or the AG? I heard the AG first or the EC.
I think it's
the EC.
EC.
The EC, okay. With the Electoral Commission, the Electoral Commission reports to the Special Budget Committee of Parliament. That again is led by Chairman Sambonsu, but has Haruna Idrisu and a few other members of our side on it. I know that they've made it clear that any subsequent approvals of funds will be contingent on a full breakdown of the EC's expenditure. Again, we wanted to do a special audit of the EC. It was blocked on the basis that the Auditor General is carrying out his audit of the EC for 2020, and so we should wait for that report. So let's wait, see how that report pans out, and then on the basis of that, we can re-trigger the activities. But like I said, they are simply using every rule in the book to frustrate us doing a deep dive audit. But like I keep saying, no matter how long they take, all we pray for is life and good health. 2025, we will go into all of those issues. No matter where they run to, the long arm of the law will catch up with them.
Honorable Sam George, tell us about the registration of SIM card and what happened a couple of weeks back when there were long queues. You could see some of the queues all over Facebook. Many people didn't know what was even going on.
The queues still exist. I don't have a problem with the policy direction of re-registration of SIM cards. I just think that it must be done in line with law. There's only one legislation in Ghana today for the registration of SIM cards. That is LI 2006. LI 2006 is clear. If you read section 2 of LI 2006, it spells out what cards you can use. It says you can use a driver's license, you can use a SNIT card, you can use a passport, you can use a national ID card, you can use a national health insurance card, and any other card that will be gazetted by the minister. And when you go to the section 10 of that law of LI 2006, it actually specifies what an identity document is and breaks it down for you. And so that's the law for registration. So when the minister says that you can only use the Ghana card and is citing LI 2111, which is the LI for the National Identity Register, you're using the wrong legislation to carry out the right action. And then we can have that happen. We're not a banana republic, and that's why we're still going to challenge. Even though we got the minister to do an extension, clearly there's still challenges with the acquisition of the Ghana card, and we're going to continue to challenge it.
What do you read into it? Why is the minister doing that? Why would the minister want to use LI 2341?
Well, simply because they do not want to open it up for people to be able to register all their SIM cards. That's the only thing I can fathom out, because I don't understand why I can use my passport to register for a Ghana card. But I cannot, and you say I can use a Ghana card, which is a derivative of my passport.
Yeah.
I can use that card to register my SIM. But the source document for the Ghana card, which is the passport or the birth certificate, I cannot use that to register.
So the Ghana
SIM.
card came out of the passport.
The birth certificate and the passport.
Yes.
And you say the Ghana card can be used, but the passport and birth certificate cannot be used. I just can't understand it.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
What's your name, sir?
Okay, I'm Dali. I'm calling from Bromley.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, so I just want to say I'm so happy, watching this, and I love the Honorable Sam George. I follow him on Twitter, and he's an awesome man. Now, quickly, in the discussion, I remember he mentioned that the killings that went on in the last election. And I just wanted to say that what is the NDC doing to ensure that we don't have a repeat of that? Because I fear that if that is not addressed, it's going to repeat itself in the next election. And looking at the NPP and how much money has been embezzled, I'm thinking they're probably going to do whatever they've got to do to make sure the NDC doesn't ascend to power to look into these things. So what the NDC is doing to make sure, these killings are going to be investigated to make sure Ghana doesn't have a repeat in the next election. Thank you.
All right,
well, a very quick one on that. If you took the NDC's manifesto, the People's Manifesto for 2020, in there under our justice section, we had stated clearly that we're going to open investigations into the unfortunate incident in Ayaso West Wogon. At that time, Ejura had not happened. At that time, the killings of the 8 during the election had not happened. And so, even with Ayaso West Wogon, we had made a promise and a commitment in our manifesto to implement the Emil Short Commission report and investigate and hold accountable everyone who should be held accountable. And so I believe that in 2024, our manifesto is definitely going to cover that. And like I keep saying, no matter how slow the wheels of justice will grind, we will come after everybody who was responsible. And there are a number of things we will be looking to investigate. It's not just going to end there. The invasion of parliament by soldiers. These are all issues that we will investigate. At this point in time, the minority, see, I get it. People have lost so much hope in the executive, in the government, that the only alternative, the only place they can turn to is the minority. However, the minority is restrained or restricted in what we can do. You can't, as a minority, start investigating the military. You don't have the legal framework or the jurisprudence to allow you investigate the military. You can call for investigations in parliament, but again, your scope is limited because again, we must be minded that you have oversight responsibility of the executive. It doesn't mean you have powers to determine what goes on in the executive and determine that the military should have an investigation. Even when there's public pressure for an investigation, like you saw in the IRSO West Wogon report, you cannot compel the government to deal with the report's recommendation. The government set up the Emil Short Commission. They did a report, fantastic report. The government says that the Emil Short Commission didn't understand their terms of reference. I mean, you bring and you say that Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, who is one of Ghana's finest jurisprudence, she's one of our finest jurists when it comes to criminal jurisprudence. You tell me she doesn't understand the terms of reference. 3 months after that, you appoint her to the Supreme Court.
What's the point? Because what she said before was not favorable. All right, thank you very much, folks. Comrades, this is where we draw the curtains. Before you go, why are you telling Ghanaians living in the diaspora especially, what can we do to help? Because it looks like the Akufo-Addo is a wrong choice, and clearly they're not going to change.
Like you said to Sabato, adopt a polling station, adopt a constituency. Everybody in the diaspora comes from a constituency. You have a polling station where you vote. Make sure you're registered. If you're not registered already, when there's any opportunity to register again, come down and register. Get involved. You don't think that you're sitting in London and so you are disconnected. You're sitting in Europe and you're disconnected. You have family members in there. As the prices of things are going, if you're here and you normally send £100, and you think that, when I used to send £100, it used to be 700 Ghana cedi to support them in the house every week or every month. And now, if I send £100, they get 1,000, so they are getting more. No, they're not getting more. I just showed you the cost of things.
The cost
of things have gone high by 3 times, 4 times. So the people back home are going to need you to send even £200 to be able to buy the same amount of things they used to buy with the £100. So it's affecting you. The mismanagement is affecting you. The only way we can right this is by changing the mistake that is a government that we have today and bringing better managers of the economy in 2025 to run the state. You need to get involved. You need to let your people know that many of the tree stations are engaged in all kinds of misinformation of the people. You sit here, you're more enlightened. When you speak to your people, they listen to you. So get involved. It's not just Sam George who has to come on radio or TV. It's not just Okujeto Ablakwa. It's not just Sami Jemfi. Every one of you who wants to see Ghana better has a responsibility to join in this fight to get these guys out of power at the next election. It's the only way we have. We have. It's the only route we have. And let's work together. Adopt a polling station, adopt a constituency, and support it.
Thank you so much, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Messages. Okay, I'll get through it. The message. Is it on the provider? It's not on the provider. It's on mine. Okay. No worries at all. I'll see you all very shortly. Let me just run through the messages very quickly whilst I see you. It's okay. Unfortunately, Joe, I can't find the messages, so I will leave the messages, and I will see it later in the show, and I will forward all these. When I get answers, I would let you know. Unfortunately, we have to just let it. Okay, he's managed to give me the messages. Okay, so some Lolonya said some. I thought the e-levy is in the Supreme Court. Has the NDC given up the fight?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's in the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Mensa Nanenie said it's not because government are only interested in using the e-levy as a collateral for much bigger loan. And what is the minority doing about it? Yes, I even forgot to ask you. Do they want to use the e-levy as a collateral for a much bigger loan?
We've all heard that, but again, we'll see where it goes, and then we'll see what processes. They need to come to Parliament for approval for some of those things.
The messages are a lot, and unfortunately, we've run out of time. Next time, when we are lucky again to have him, I would send it through. My name is Anderson Danso, and I was lucky to have the Honourable Member of Parliament for the people of Ningo and Prampram and its environment within that constituency, Ningo Prampram Constituency, Honourable St. George in the house. And thank you so much for watching, and we should come your way again sometime very soon. Until then, keep the faith alive.